she's cutting into his livelihood, he feels. And so he's like, this bitch got to go. So he hired some guy for $3,000. I guess he found him on Groupon. He found him on Groupon, a Groupon hitman, and flew him, and they met, and he paid him $3,000, and then he was supposed to go to Florida and kill her, and then get some undisclosed balance on that or whatever. But I think the Groupon hitman just took him for the $3,000.
Right.
He just took his $3,000 and just disappeared because nothing ever happened to the woman, and we don't know anything. Right. We don't know anything about else that happened. The hitman just disappeared. So he tries again. He finds another hitman. Well, actually not a hitman, but a broker. And he keeps talking to this person about he needs somebody to kill this woman down in Florida. So the person pretended to be of assistance and find him a hitman, but in actuality, this person turned him into the FBI, and so the person that the hitman that they put him onto was actually an undercover FBI agent.
Right.
So
set him up. Set him up old TV style.
Right. So now he's in jail for 2 counts of attempted murder.
Plus, isn't some charge for because you're doing something illegal across state lines?
All that. I'm sure he's.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was definitely 2 counts of attempted murder or murder for hire. Actually, 2 counts of murder for hire and something else, and he could get up to 10 years for each count. So that's 20 years. So yeah, that's only 7 years more than the Diner and Dasher. So there you go. So you know.
Oh my God.
7 more years, you can just go ahead and put a hit out.
Right.
You know? So.
You didn't even get a meal out of it.
Nope.
That's what.
Or a haircut. Hey, he needed a haircut.
I did see the picture of Joe Exotic. He did need a haircut.
I read in the article that Joe Exotic ran for president.
He did.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he did. He ran for president.
Who the fuck? How? Isn't it like some rules and guidelines and he fell within that? Well, so much for that.
There are some rules, but they're not very...
You gotta be 35, you gotta be born in this country.
Right. That's pretty much it.
Boom. President.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. But
his campaign, Joe Exotic's campaign was like trash. It was like guns and...
To have a real chance, though, you have to have some qualifications, you know.
Right.
But to throw your name in there, you can just be Joe Exotica.
And he was saying something about gays, and he said something about guns.
Joe Exotic happens to be gay.
Oh, okay. So he was pro-gay, and he didn't want gun reform. He was just like all over the place with his campaign when I was reading. I was like, how was he going to win this? It was just like, I don't even understand how they let this man run for president. I don't.
Well, anybody can run for president.
I know, but it's just like, well, there you have it.
You could run for president in a few years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I have a few more years to go. Like 15.
But I don't know, though. You have done jail time.
I'm not a felon. That's going to work for me and when I do my campaign. Don't sleep. Don't sleep.
Well, hey.
Look, I don't sleep.
I don't want to get too much about 45, but anybody can be president.
You see what I'm saying?
Anybody can be president.
That's life experience. People believe in that now.
Remember when it was a big deal that Bill Clinton had smoked some weed?
Yes. No, not no more.
Now it's like, oh my gosh, we don't even care about that.
Right, he smoked weed. I'm voting for him. That's a vote. That's a plus now.
Well, Barack did H.
Did he really?
Yeah, he mentioned it in his book.
What's H?
Heroin.
Oh, what?
Heroin.
Yeah, he was smart about it. He talked about it in his book before anybody could. He did an Oprah. That's what I call it. Get in front of it and put it out there before anybody can so-called bust you. You bust yourself.
Damn.
And in his autobiography, he talked about that when he was young, experimenting, he tried it or whatever.
I have that book. I never.
He didn't inhale. But
I can't with both of y'all right now. He got the book, he didn't read it, and you say he didn't inhale. I cannot.
He didn't inhale. But you don't need to inhale with heroin, but still.
I don't believe that. Heroin, wow, that's... All right, well, teach his own, I guess.
Shell shock.
Right?
You just like told her Santa Claus ain't real.
I did. Everything I believed was a lie.
If I said 45 did age, it would have been a whole different story up in here.
Yeah.
Now, see, that actually I would find hard to believe. You can say almost anything about him, but I would not believe that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I don't see it either.
He's from the 80s. You say cocaine for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But heroin, I don't see him going that direction.
Yeah, it doesn't.
All right,
yeah, it doesn't feel like him either to me.
All right.
But anyway. Okay. Justice for Sanjay is the latest rallying cry in HIV crime cases.
Yeah, this one's interesting for me.
Why is that?
Because I didn't really know a lot about. Well, I knew that if you had HIV.
Well, wait. I'm sorry. I don't want to. Before you get into that, Pip, why don't you give us tell us what the story is about?
Okay, so
we'll get into
there are some states, mostly southern states, where if you don't disclose your HIV status, you can go to jail for that. It's a pretty serious crime, actually.
Right.
And you can definitely serve some time for it. There have been people that have been prosecuted in states regarding this. Again, mostly it's southern states now, and the age in which we live in right now, if you take your medication and you're on HIV, you could be undetectable, right? Which undetectable is untransmittable. U equals U is what the doctors say these days. Undetectable equals untransmittable. So that even if you are HIV positive, you have a 0.02% chance of passing the virus on to somebody else. So this guy did not disclose his status to a partner. And even though he was untransmittable, this partner found out that he was HIV positive, but we don't know where he got the HIV from. He could have most likely got it from somebody else. But he turned this guy into the police, this Sanjay, into the police for not disclosing. And because he found out later on, actually, when he had told him that he was HIV positive, he's like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm HIV positive too. And he was trying to help the guy, and the guy turned on him and turned him in. So now this guy is in jail. He's facing trial. His trial is actually coming up, I think, within the next month. And so the rallying cry is to justice for Sanjay, because this guy shouldn't be in jail. Yes, it is true he did not disclose his status, but he's not somebody that could have passed the disease on. So it's a really interesting take. And also in this day and age, again, with the way we advance with medical science and technology, why are these crimes still on the books?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's hear what you have to say.
This case was interesting for me because I knew that if you had HIV, you had to disclose. So I'd already know, or it was illegal. I knew that already, but I didn't know anything about U equals U. I didn't know that you can be untransmittable. So that was a whole new layer for me to really sit back and look like, wow, okay, well, if he's untransmittable, then how is he even being charged to begin with? So that was just...
Because they go by the letter of the law.
Yeah, so it just didn't... It doesn't make sense. And then the guy admitted to sleeping with other guys after him, and I'm sure obviously he slept with guys before him. And so I don't understand why he's the one that's in jail in particular. Why didn't they go find the guy he slept with after him? Because he couldn't remember who he was, so they just arrest him? It
seems to me that the dude that brought the charges up against Sanjay, and I'm using this term on purpose, was butthurt about being HIV positive. And it is a terrible, tragic thing to go through. I am not minimizing this. Let me just say, I've never said this on the air, but I'm HIV positive. I'm also on medication. I'm undetectable, and I have been for 8 years. I think this, like I said, this guy was butthurt, and he's lashing out because he's angry or whatever about his status. And while he's going through all of this right now, he's taking it out on the one person he can punish.
Sanjay.
That's
crazy.
Okay. I have mixed emotions about this. I feel like any transmittable disease, you should have to, I don't care if it's, if it's U equals U or whatever. Like if you're going to have sex with someone, I feel like they have a right to know. If you know you have something, they have a right to know before you have sex with them, especially if you're about to have unprotected sex.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I don't care. I don't care what the disease is. I don't care what the status of it is. If you have it, then I feel like you owe it to somebody to before you have sex with them, especially if you're having it unprotected. But even if it's protected, that's how I feel about it. Now, do I feel like this guy should be in jail? I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
He didn't do anything to this dude?
He had sex with them unprotected without disclosing his status.
Okay. He didn't make him sick.
We don't know that, do we?
We pretty much know that, yeah. It is statistically almost impossible.
I just found out about U equals U, so this is something that's just like a whole new...
Well, it's just now coming out to the mainstream because doctors now are trying to get the word out because people are ignorant.
Right.
But this has been the case for several years now, that U equals U, undetectable equals untransmittable. But you're actually... Most people don't know their HIV status. Most people don't want to go and find out.
Right.
So you actually are at more risk of getting HIV from somebody that doesn't know their status and is not on medication. That's what the danger most people have. But we don't send people to jail because they don't know and they spread it to somebody else. But that happens more than the opposite way.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
I do see your point. I do see your point, Dino. Because you're right. I mean, if you have something else that could be contagious or transmittable, you know, and you tell somebody, it's like, well, it's, you know.
Yeah, I've been with a partner that had,
even if it's herpes,
that had something. I was about to say, I would believe it was herpes. This partner had, and we had protected sex, and she didn't reveal it to me until sometime into the relationship. Now, I didn't. What?
She just her face went all the way back.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I was upset. I wasn't like I didn't try to like physically harm her or anything like that. Upset, but I was upset because I felt like no, that was disingenuous. That was dishonest.
Yeah.
And her retort was that we were protected. I'm like, well, we were protected mostly. But there were things that we did where, I exposed my bare mouth to, right, that didn't have,
Yeah.
Whereas if I had known your situation, I'm saying,
it would have been different.
Right. It might have, or even if it was, at least let that be my choice.
Right.
So, you did put me at risk without telling me, even though we didn't have, unprotected intercourse. So I just think it's the right of the person to decide if and when they want to be exposed and to what level and whatever else, and it's not for you to not say. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, people should definitely know what they're getting into when they're getting into it. So, should Sanjay be in jail? I don't think so. I don't think he should be in jail because this young man is the one that's making me question everything, because in his reports he says that he slept with somebody else. He doesn't know their status. He didn't really know his status really before then. So it's just kind of like, who's to say that really Sanjay gave it to him? He's just speculating because Sanjay told him that he had HIV.
I will say this. I will amend my statement and say that I don't think he belongs in jail, but I definitely think he was wrong. And I think he was wrong, and I think they need to find some kind of way to discourage people from doing that.
Definitely, yeah.
So, but yeah, I will say I don't necessarily think he belongs in jail.
Yeah, I'm honest. I could see an argument where this would work to the opposite of that, where people would say like, "Well, I just want to get tested and I don't have to ever worry about it."
Wow.
Well, people think that way. I mean, I've had many conversations.
Well, people look for reasons not to get tested anyway.
Well, exactly. I've been in this situation before I found out I was positive myself. I've always been an HIV/AIDS advocate, and I remember, and I have gotten many people to get tested. I actually remember back in the '90s, me trying to push my mom to get her church to do testing at their church, and they didn't want to talk about it.
No.
They didn't even want to discuss it. And I said, do you know black women are affected more than any other
segment
in America? And I was like, this is really an issue. You have the church is full of black women.
Right.
So you'll be helping them.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a discussion. She didn't want to talk to her pastor about it. She didn't want to even bring it up. And I was like, it could be done anonymously. You guys could have a mobile service come in.
Yeah.
And they didn't, like I said, they didn't even want to discuss the situation.
Wow.
So, it's hard enough to get people in there already. I feel like this is another deterrent for people to get tested personally.
I hope it's the flip side. I hope that this